Hi folks, this is Don Schaefer. I'm excited to be with you because I think I've got something very important for you this week. This is part of a program that we've been doing called the Personal Transformation. And we're working with the idea that we are all basically a hardware born into this world that it has to be programmed. So when a child is born into this world, they have no programming. All of it has to be programmed into them. And what you are and what I am today is because of the programming that was done in our lives. And we're using the scripture in Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. The scripture where it says that we offer ourselves back to God and that we need to be not conformed to a world set of programming, but be transformed by making a new mind inside of us, seeing things in a different way. And then we can prove that which is good and perfect and acceptable in God's eyes. We can fulfill a purpose in our life because we were programmed for greatness, and it's up to us to find a place to achieve all that. And I'm excited about this week's session here because we're going to be talking about a house in order, 2.28, a house in order. And God is about to do something supernatural in your life in the way you think. And I've got a quote here by Sigmund Freud, and it goes, "Unexpected emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways." So a lot of what we're going to be talking about as far as getting your house in order is going to be dealing with your emotions, because that is what leads you and guides you in life and everything that you do. And we're going to try to break this down in a good way. And I want to leave you with an understanding of a little bit of what you are and what you can become and the operations you can work in your life to become the better you. Our lives are directly linked to our emotions. Your emotions are so important to understand. We need to understand that. Your emotions are the part of us they control. A person in control of her emotion is a person destined to an incredible life. Our life, everything about us deals with our emotions. And a person who can control their emotion can have an incredible life. A person not in control will have a life of struggle. There will be a lot of problems in life, and we see this. We see people who are not in control of their emotions. And that's where you have basically an emotional house inside you. You have good emotions and you have bad emotions. And what we're hoping to do through all this is give you a focus on this to understand that what your emotions are, and maybe you can identify them. Finding ourselves in a situation where sometimes what happens is because we build a home inside of us, and we bring good, we bring bad into us. And a lot of times, we don't realize what we're bringing in. And and it seems like no matter where I go in life, no matter where you go, you always gravitate back home. You always find your way back home. You got a place, that's you. That's where you go. And that's where it's a place of comfort. It's a place where you find yourself. But a lot of times, what's inside your home is not good. It's creating issues possibly in your life. It could be creating good things. Don't get me wrong, but I want to give you some focus that if your house is in order, your house is beautiful. If it's out of order, not so beautiful. And that's where we're going to continue to grow in an understanding. To reach the life that you want, you must have your house in order to reach that type of life. Houses out of order, that does not happen. We become collectors sometimes. And our house is a mess. A lot of times people collect things, house becomes a mess. I know every once in a while my house becomes a mess because I've been bringing this home or bringing that home, and a lot of it I don't even need or use, and a lot of it holds me back. My house becomes a mess. Your emotional junk can become very familiar with you. It can become who you are. You just brought a lot of junk home, and that's where a lot of your attitudes, the way you look at life, the way you express yourself, a lot of times has to deal with what's inside the house. It's what's making you. A lot of times we bring in junk, and that's where we have to be realize that our emotions serve us in what we do. It serves us either in a good way or it can harm us. And sometimes we need to come to a place where we have to let certain emotions go. They are just not good house guests. And therefore, to have a house in order, things have to be in order. And a lot of times, you go and you see houses that are not in order. You can pick them out quickly. I know sometimes looking at cars, I can look at cars, I can tell a lot about a person's life sometimes by just the inside of their cars. Sometimes there's only room enough for one person to sit behind the steering wheel because there's every wrapper, every container of places that they've been to for the last month. There's pieces laying inside their car. That is not a car in order. A lot of times that's what happens in our life. We pick up junk. Attitudes, ways of looking at things, and we need to look at ourselves. You know what? I need to maybe clean some of this up. Flipping your emotion to make things happen. See, a lot of times we need to get into a place where I need to change an emotion because I want positive things to happen. Your emotions can be the difference of a can-do or can't-do attitude. So many times people get into an attitude that they can't do anything. A lot of times it's their emotions that are holding them and keeping them in that specific spot in life. Unhealthy emotions can lead to depression, overeating, drugs, alcohol, and all forms of things that we don't want to get involved in. But a lot of it deals with our emotions, how we were processing life, the way we're looking at life. See, when I have my positive emotions working, I can take the world. But when the negative ones, these house guests that have allowed themselves into my house start to work on me, there's nothing that seems like I can do. It seems like everything is falling apart. Where if I can say, you know what, I am going to develop some strong stuff in my life because I know I can change, because we are creatures of change. And a lot of times what has to happen is we have to get in focus of what's really going on. And that's where this upgrade is all about. That your house in order is all about a focus of what's really possibly really going on in your life. Using your mind and emotions in your favor, not against you. See, emotions are there. They're just there. And we use them, all the time. And we can use them for our favor. You can use it to fulfill a purpose in life. If we realize, hey, you know what? I need some good emotions. I'm going to the workplace and I'm applying for a job. I need to be in my best emotional state when I talk to these guys and work with these guys. Or if I'm a salesperson, I need to be in my best emotional state. I can't allow some bad emotions to start surfacing themselves. And that's where we have ourselves. We realize we can use our emotions in our favor if we can identify and keep these, because they're the thing that makes us human. God has created us in a way that we are a being of emotions, good or bad. We are a being of emotions. And we need to identify what emotions are working in our life. They can be good or bad. The word emotion stands for energy in motion, and emotion, energy in motion. And emotions can get a lot done in our life. A good positive emotion, there's nothing that stops us because I've got the emotional fortitude to do a lot of things. But a negative one will keep me in my tracks. I'll have a hard time processing, hard time being the person I really want to be. And that's where we can use our emotions to our favor, or we can allow emotions to hold us back. Becoming desensitized to hold your emotions, that your emotions might have on you. We get desensitized. We fail to realize sometimes the emotional hold that's on our lives, sometimes by the emotions that we've allowed to live in our house. They're keeping us from levels that we could possibly reach. Emotions can either become your friend or your greatest enemy. A good positive emotion, you need to wrap your around. A good friend is worth its weight in gold. To have someone in your life that is good, positive, lifting you up, helping you create the emotions that you want to live with, that is positive stuff. Someone that's bringing you down, you need to do some house cleaning. You need to open up your doors and say, hey, you know what? I need to get them out of my house, because we live in an emotional home. And that's where a lot of times what happens is We allow unwelcome visitors to come into our door. Successful people, you see them. They live in gated communities. We go down to Florida once in a while, and we got a condo that we rent down there, and it's a gated community. They don't let just anybody come in. They want this place to remain beautiful. And ungated communities in some areas, you've got all kinds of junk and riffraff flowing in these areas, and all kinds of problems and issues. And that's where, for us, we need to make our emotional bank. Our emotional home needs to be a gated community. We need to be able to allow everything to be in its order. And that's where sometimes it comes to a time where we need to remove unwanted guests in our life. We need to remove unwanted emotions. We identify them. There comes a time to put your foot down and say, hey, you know what? Enough's enough. I realize it's my emotions that are causing my issues in life. It's my emotions that are holding me back. It's my emotions that are keeping me from being the person that I could be. I need positive stuff. I need good stuff. And that's where what happens sometimes is we've got so much negative emotions and stuff going on, the jealousies, the angers, and the hates, and all that stuff, all negative emotion. We have no room for a positive emotion. And sometimes what happens in our life, not only do we not put up the gates as a gated community, we become hoarders. We start to hoard this. We start to hoard stuff in our house. I don't know about you guys, but I've been to houses of hoarders. It's sad. I remember one time a house trailer. My brother Dave and I and our wives went in there, and we spent the whole day, room by room. There wasn't room to move hardly, cleaning this place up, taking everything that we thought was junk, moving it out, cleaning up everything, because we thought it was our Christian thing to do. And it was a good thing. It was a good thing. But, the party that lived there comes back in appreciative, but you gave her a month, and her place was right back to being a hoarder again, because that's who she was. And that's where, for us, we have to be careful, because we can take on negative emotions and allow them to live inside of us, and that's going to destroy us. That's going to keep us from the areas that we want to go. And that's where we have to consciously put together a plan to get our house in order. We need to look at the emotions, taking time to meditate, concentrate, and focus what we want in life. And what are the emotions that we need to cultivate? And what is it that we need to shove aside, to get rid of? See, and that's where God is a big part of all of this. He wants to renew us. He wants to change us, give us an opportunity. He's created us as a being, as a hardware, as we talked about, to be programmed in many ways. But if we can realize what our emotions do in our life, and realize that, and they surface themselves. A lot of times there's triggers. All of a sudden something happens and this emotion triggers itself. Well, that's telling you that's an area you need to work with. Come to God with, whatever it might be, and get yourself into a place where you're feeding those positive emotions, feeding yourself with good positive material, because this is what's going to get you in a place where you're successful in life, where you will enjoy being you, where you're safe. It's a gated community. You've guarded yourself. You've got yourself into a place. You're not a hoarder anymore. Everything in your house has its function, and it's for your good, not to bring you down, because you have taken time to allow your good emotions to build themselves. And that's where you keep your house in order, and you keep your house to the point where it becomes the best house on the block. So it is all about keeping your house in order. I hope this message resonates with you. This is stuff that I'm working on also. I need this stuff, and I know you do too. And hopefully we can get our houses in order, that we can develop the emotions we need to be the best people, or the better you that you can possibly be in life. Thanks for being with me. I'll have another message next week, and I'll see you then. Thank you.